Now, please welcome Carmel Valley Manor's President and CEO, Jay Zimmer.
Thank you, Megan, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending Carmel Valley Manor's second Zoom event on healthy aging. We are happy to present information in this webinar series that can benefit seniors. Carmel Valley Manor is Monterey County's only life care community for people 65 and older. This past February, 97% of our residents and 91% of our staff have received the COVID-19 vaccine. Through this past year, Carmel Valley Manor has maneuvered through the pandemic exceptionally well. We attribute this success to the dedication of our staff and residents. While we continue to exercise caution and safety procedures, we have reopened our campus to visitors and guests. Our presentation today focuses on the topic of healthy aging. We are fortunate to have brought together a panel of experts to share insights and proven techniques for maintaining health and vitality as we grow older. Panelists include Carmel Valley Manor's Health Services Administrator and Registered Nurse, Chris Regan. Chris is a mother of two and has been with the Manor since 2002. Our second panelist is a retired Ob Gyn physician and Carmel Valley Manor resident, Dr. John Enbom. Dr. Enbom is active on the Residents' Council and Fitness Committee. Finally, we are pleased to have nutritionist and registered dietitian, Connie Hurlbert. I am sure you will all enjoy the various perspectives and knowledge these three collectively have to offer. Following today's presentation, we will be providing a brief introduction to Carmel Valley Manor by our Director of Community Relations, Angie Machado, followed by a Q&A section. If you have questions of any of our speakers, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type them in. We will answer as many as we can at the end of today's Zoom presentation. You can enter these anonymously. Now, we all know that as we age, it becomes increasingly important to maintain our health. That's why we've created this event to help simplify and assist in ways to focus on the most important aspects that contribute to a healthy body and mind. We are recording today's session and we'll be sharing the link in an email you will receive following this presentation. Now, please join me in welcoming our moderator, David Gauger.
Thank you, Jay, and hello, everyone. Happy Earth Day. It's wonderful having so many of you join us today. Carmel Valley has been tremendously successful at helping people stay healthy and enjoy later life. I'm always amazed at how many centurions there are living here. What's their secret? Perhaps something in the water. Last month, Beverly Cleary, the award-winning author of children's books and longtime Carmel Valley Manor resident, passed away. She wrote more than 40 books, sold over 91 million copies worldwide, and lived to be 104. I'd like to start things off with a short video of Carmel Valley Manor residents talking about healthy aging.
Well, I just think the whole Monterey Peninsula is an element to keep one's mind active and body active.
This campus is unique that way. We're not a high-rise building. We're not an enclosed space. We have gardens everywhere and walkways, and we have to walk to the dining hall.
We have a wonderful fitness center, and we have a wonderful physical therapist.
It's ever so much better than being in a high-rise where you don't have a perimeter to walk around.
The emphasis on exercise and a good diet and the comradeship that the community provides and just the beauty of the place. I mean, it all those things I think combine to make people happier and healthier, and so a lot of people live longer.
Now, please welcome Chris Regan.
Oh, you're muted.
Chris?
Thank you, David. It's lovely to hear from our residents. Almost what more do we need to say? They've shared so much that truly contributes to healthy aging and wellness. We appreciate the opportunity to share with you today. We know there's so much material out there on aging and health and wellness and things, and we can't possibly include everything. So we did want to give you an overview of the top 5 factors that we think contribute to healthy aging. We know that all of us age differently, depending on many factors. We are fortunate to live in a time where there is and continues to be significant research and development on factors contributing to healthy aging. Most of us not only want to live longer days, but we want those days to be rich and full of life. With intentional pursuit, these days can be full of resiliency, optimism, purposefulness, and connectedness, all which we believe contribute to healthy aging.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Well said. As Chris mentioned, it's such a big subject. Obviously, many, many books have been written about it. And while there are many contributors to longevity, our panel is going to explore the top 5. And they are exercise and movement, behavioral and physical health, sleep, healthy dietary habits and hydration, and finally, social connectivity and your support system. So, Chris, you want to start off with exercise and movement?
Absolutely. Exercise and movement. Fitness you can fit in anywhere. Walk versus drive. You've heard the saying, when you go shopping, park the farthest away and walk as much as you can during the day. We are fortunate on this campus. We have a large campus with a fitness center, a pool. We offer a variety of classes, including yoga, strength, balance, tai chi. Our perimeter road is 0.6 miles, and both residents and staff are seen taking advantage of the easy, accessible outdoors. We're close to Garland Regional Park and Point Lobos, with both offer tremendous walking and hiking opportunities, which leads us to endorphins, help relieving stress and pain, which promotes wellness and healthy living. Studies show that exercise release endorphins. Endorphins are a natural chemical in our bodies that during exercise they increase and have been found to reduce pain. They've been found to offer relaxation or that feeling of euphoria. You've heard of that runner's high. It's also been shown to help modulate one's appetite and lift one's mood. And all of these contribute to that wellness. We know that the second part of endorphins and stress relief is improved sleep. And that's our next slide. Improved sleep, though we will be talking more about sleep in as a next pillar, but we know the benefits of sleep the consistent movement and exercise contribute to a better sleep or slumber. And we will learn later on how much this supports our overall wellness. So exercise, movement, getting good sleep are some of those building blocks that improve wellness. Dr. Enbom on our panel, he's got more to share with us about the benefits of exercise and movement. Dr. Enbom.
Thank you, Chris. Exercise obviously is very important in our long-term health. It retains mobility, balance enhancement, lowers cardiac disease risk, lowers stress, improves sleep and bone health. There isn't a situation in our being that exercise doesn't enhance your well-being. It's recommended by HHR that we have approximately 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate intensity exercise and 1.5 to 2.5 hours of vigorous intensity of aerobic exercise or a combination of the two. cardiopulmonary fitness, which is the core of the body, the heart and lungs. It requires aerobic exercise to enhance health. Aerobic means that we are working within the physiologic limitations of our body. We make sure that our breathing and our heart rate are sending enough oxygen to the muscles and our heart during the workout. Musculoskeletal strengthening, on the other hand, is equally important and requires enhances ambulation, balance, and fracture prevention. This requires weight bearing and resistance to be carried out. It's very important when we're dealing with exercise that we make sure that we're physically able to conduct activities, and we recommend that people have a medical evaluation just for their own peace of mind and safety. It's also important, especially when using equipment and fitness circuits, that you have someone go through this and an instructor to make sure that you're using the equipment properly and enhancing the benefit. We want to set a baseline so that we know that we're can have a consistent place to work from and see if we're enhancing and improving our strength. Regular schedule is very important. It doesn't do much good to do exercise once a week. Obviously, it's much more important to do it consistently and regularly. Anything counts: swimming, hiking, dancing, cycling, running, treadmill, combination with weights, resistant bands, mechanical fitness devices. You want to be sure and be cautious and use supervision and increase slowly, but there isn't a situation in which you can't improve your status by exercising. And that's true whether you're ambulatory or whether you're in a chair and do chair exercises, or when you are in bed. There are things that can be done to enhance your well-being. The whole goal is to make you feel better and do the best with what we have. We'll be talking next webinar with our physical therapist and our fitness director, and they'll discuss in more detail, of course, fitness, balance, strength in our facilities, especially rehabilitation and recovery from medical issues. Connie? Would you like to add to the nutrition and hydration relative to exercise?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Enbom. I love the hiking that Carmel Valley provides. That's my favorite. So now that we know the importance of maintaining a healthy exercise regimen, it's also important to know that nutrition will help support that. It's important that we're getting adequate calories, adequate protein in our diet pretty consistently. And whether you choose plant-based proteins like tofu, beans, quinoa, nuts and seeds, or you prefer animal-based proteins like chicken, fish, lean beef or pork, eggs or dairy, getting those proteins in at every meal consistently throughout the day will help to ensure that you're getting enough protein to maintain your muscle and maintain your activity. As we age, our body's ability to absorb certain nutrients goes down, and it's important that we're getting those extra nutrients in our diet, but we also can't absorb all of our protein needs all at one time in the day. So it is important that we break up our protein throughout the day at like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. At Carmel Valley Manor, the main dining room serves 3 meals a day, just as we need them, roughly 4 to 5 hours apart, and that helps to support a healthy eating routine.
So Connie, I've heard that all my life that you shouldn't eat a big meal and then go swimming. You should wait for an hour. And yet at the same time, I've heard and seen that athletes that are running marathons and things are kind of eating all the time. How is exercise and food connected?
Thank you, David, for that question. Everyone's digestion is very different. But generally, we say the best time to eat is after exercise versus before exercise. It takes, 15 minutes to even recognize that our stomachs have food in it. And sometimes it can take up to an hour and a half to digest a meal. Snacking, if we're about to go exercise and we're just feeling a little like we need something to, having a little snack is okay if your body tolerates it. But really, having a larger meal after exercise is better.
Great.
Thanks.
Our next item, our next factor is behavioral and physical health. Chris?
Sure. That's a great picture there on the beach. I also wanted to say for exercise and movement, I think a friend's watching who rides horses, and I want to give a plug to horseback riding. It's a great form of exercise and movement. This has been a real challenging year for all of us. Nobody has gone through it without some kind of, a challenge. And we've seen how optimism and stress reduction techniques has really helped many navigate through a challenging season. We know that optimism is related to wellness. Optimism's been shown to improve our immune system, helps us cope with disappointments, bumps in the roads like COVID-19. That was more than just a bump in the road, I think. But and we also know that gratefulness, attitudes, choices that go along with optimism. We know that, what's that saying? Choose your attitude, but make it a good one. Well, that good attitude can really help you navigate through your day and the things that come that you're faced with all the time. We have control over our thoughts and those responses to our thoughts. And we know as we mature, we have opportunity to know ourselves better and better. We know that pursuing wellness includes knowing what causes us stress and ways to mitigate for that stress. We know that as we grow and mature, we know items that drain our bucket and fill our bucket. And as I speak with ones that appeared to have aged very gracefully, a common thread is optimism, gratitude, and thankfulness. And they link that, I've seen, with giving to others, mentoring others, giving to others of their time and their talents along their journey. Look to see what areas of your life you can choose to manage differently with a positive outcome of joy, gratitude, and thankfulness, including optimism. Know what fills your bucket and choose to do that every day. Dr. Enbom, you have seen as a physician the direct correlation between optimism, lack of optimism, gratitude, lack of gratitude in your practice. Could you carry us through the next tenets of behavioral and physical health?
Thank you, Chris. Obviously, we all anticipate some changes in our health over time. Basically, it's impossible not to be confronted with something along the way. The grace of aging is to work with what you have and improve and enhance it as much as you can, as long as you can. We work at this from a medical point of view regarding prevention of disease, which is obviously the tenet. We'd like to have everything be dealt with, the time we'd like to have everything dealt with, but that isn't very possible as we get into our 70s and 80s, obviously. But then early diagnosis and intervention, treatment, and accommodation and support, medical management is essential, and coordinate that with facilities, and assisting people in their room and in units to be able to stay in their units as long as they can, encourage their activities, help them with dressing, help them with rides to appointments, do anything you can to make them feel part of the normal cycle of life. And obviously, sometimes we need to control the environment for safety, and that may require modification of the home environment, obviously, or it may require moving into assisted living or even skilled nursing care in time or for a while. But these are all part of our mission as caregivers, as well as the mission of the manor, which cares for people's lives and their health. And this may require a good coordination, often with care plans, physical therapy, physicians, occupational therapy, trainers, support with food prep, cleaning, you name it. It's available, but it's essential, and it does help people seeing the joy in life and being to optimize their time at the manor or any other facility that they happen to choose to live in. We strive, of course, for therapy and management for every disease, and we deal, obviously, as we age, with underlying disease processes that have already been present, mental and as well as physical health issues. One of the areas that we really like to emphasize and avoid is isolation, physical isolation, social isolation. Loss of senses such as vision and hearing are extremely important to intervene and try to enhance the contact with others and enhance the social setting for the individuals. Chronic pain, try to manage it as well as you can. I'm going to steal a line from physical therapist and say that that motion is lotion for arthritis, and it's true, especially with osteoarthritis, which is the most common. Diabetes can be managed and minimize vascular and neuropathy, heart disease. Obviously, everything is manageable to some degree, and to amazing degree more than not many years past. Medication effects need to be monitored and side effects watched for. Poor sleep is important to be aware of, and we're going to talk about that soon again. Pulmonary disease, of course, and lastly, but not is such a large category, cancers, of course, are a big issue. But again, therapies are available, coordination of care is essential, optimizing the person's life to the fullest extent is our goal as an individual as well as an institution. Everybody wants to be independent and self-reliant, have the sense of purpose, and to be socially active. This can be done, again, with coordination and assistance in home setting, but becomes more complicated and isolating as care support requirements increase. It's important to have a plan for contingencies. You can never know what's going to happen for sure next, and you want to be thinking not pessimistically, but realistically about how you might deal with options if they came up. This is a burden for long-term care, both financially and socially, and it's important for anybody who's approaching that stage of their life to have plans with their families, spouses, etc., because it's essential, and it's very important to have planned for it. Nutrition plays a role, obviously, in health of aging. Connie, would you like to add to that, please? Mute.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Enbom. So we know that our food intake has effects on both our mind and body. I think it was Hippocrates that said, "Let food be thy medicine." We now know with a lot of research that the Mediterranean diet is considered to be one of the healthiest diet patterns out there. And I have to clarify when I say the word diet, oftentimes people think of like a weight loss diet, like the cabbage soup diet. But one of my professors reminded me there's two definitions for diet, and the second one being the foods that we eat every day. So we're all on a diet every day. And so when we think of the Mediterranean diet, we think of it as a lifestyle change. So incorporating more of those food groups into our meals every day. And incorporating more of those foods that our bodies need, like vegetables, fruit, whole grains, lean meats, and low-fat dairy. The research has found that the Mediterranean diet has been shown to prevent chronic conditions such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, dementia, arthritis, and depression, just to name a few. And this allows us not only to live longer, but to live livelier in those years. As we age, our needs for energy decrease and our needs for nutrients rise. So it's important that the foods that we eat are high in nutrients and lower in calories, or empty calories, I guess I should say. This style of diet will promote the growth of good bacteria from the fibers that we get from the vegetables and the fruit and the whole grains, which supports a healthy digestive system. And over the last decade, we've learned that a healthy digestion supports our mental health just as much as it supports our physical health. And when we feel better, we live better.
Great, good information. That optimism idea, I think that one of the things that it seems like while you're dealing with problems that you may have physically, keeping your mind in a positive space sometimes is those people that you surround yourself with. And, you know, optimism, I guess, can be contagious. Yes?
Absolutely.
Right.
So our third factor for healthy aging, my personal favorite is sleep.
Right. I'll go ahead and talk first about sleep. So sleep is finally getting its due recognition and rest the blessing it deserves. While we cannot tell you what time to go to sleep, we are learning that getting 8 hours a night is recommended. That recommendation has been there for a while. However, there was that season, gone are the days when ones would boast about how little sleep they got and yet attempted to function. We know, though, more scientifically, that sleep restores our bodies and our mind. Much needed repair happens when we sleep. Lack of sleep leads to fatigue, irritability, depression, reduced attention and memory. More frequent illnesses and reduced productivity are related to lack of quality sleep. Some fixes to support a better sleep are: first, check your environment. Pay attention to light, noises, electronic devices. Set aside or turn off your phones. Limit naps during the day. Follow a regular schedule or routine as much as you can. Set worries aside, and I know that's easier to say than do at times, but pray or listen to quiet music in the evening before you try and rest. Set aside the tyranny of the urgent and take time to be still. As you do this more during the day, your sleep will be less interrupted and unfinished thoughts. Your sleep will be less interrupted by unfinished thoughts during the night. The benefit of living at Carmel Valley Manor is the extra hours in your day to refuel, however you would like. We offer, as Connie's mentioned already, 3 nutritious meals a day. We have housekeeping services, gardening services, beautiful gardens sensory gardens to navigate through. You have access to various modes of exercise, like our fitness center or pool, walking our perimeter, joining other clubs and things. Many have said living here is living a resort lifestyle on 28 acres. And again, as David has brought up that thread of optimism in choosing to be around those who are choose joy or who are grateful or thankful, encouraging, and to be one of those people and choose that. And again, there are many things that come our way, but as you learn to navigate what fills your bucket, as you learn to navigate how to be an encourager and receive encouragement, that all helps with the benefit of getting a good night's sleep, and again, a good night quality sleep, which is beneficial. We've alluded to various illnesses and things regarding lack of sleep and lack of wellness, but Dr. Enbom, can you add more to the relationship between sleep and illness?
Thank you. I'd first like to say that a quiet environment is very important, but I have to also say, aside from a coyote occasionally or things like that at night here, it's an amazingly wonderful place to allow sleep to happen. Adequate sleep can reduce heart disease, stroke, depression, risk of obesity, reduce inflammation, and improve our whole sense of well-being and concentration. Obviously, it's important medically to look for underlying diseases that are such as cardiopulmonary disease, like emphysema, cardiac disease, sleep apnea, stressors, and things that could be possibly altered if I could identify and teach technology and technique to help people relax. And obviously, if there are stressors that are easily removed, that are physical or financial, to obviously intervene and assist in any way possible. Neurologic diseases obviously have effect on sleep patterns as well as medication effect. So those need to be kept in mind. It's very important, as Chris mentioned, to do a regular sleep cycle and wake cycle. This, of course, will enhance memory, awareness, and a sense of well-being, but allows the brain also metabolically to basically cleanse and reorganize. When we're sleeping, the cells literally go have their annual servicing and update their computer basically. And it's an amazing process and super important to our well-being and our general health. Connie, obviously things we eat and drink may have an impact also on our sleep cycle. Is that true?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Enbom. As a mom of two, I have forgotten what adequate sleep is like. Yeah, so there are some dietary habits that we want to consider when we're thinking about getting to sleep on time and the quality of our sleep. The first one that comes to mind is caffeine. I always suggest that if people are very sensitive to caffeine, that they stop drinking it after about 12 noon, just so it can have time to get through the system. Also, alcohol can affect the quality of our sleep. So, if we're going to have a drink, we want to limit it for men to 2 drinks per day, and for women 1 drink. But we want to make sure we're not doing it too close to bedtime. The other thing is sugars and sweets. We want to be careful that we're not having a lot of sugar before bed. That can affect the quality of our sleep. And lastly, if we have trouble with getting up and using the restroom in the middle of the night, we want to consider maybe a couple hours before bedtime not drinking so many beverages. So those are some of the things that our dietary habits can disturb the quality of our sleep.
Great. Good information. And Dr. Enbom, you kind of alluded to this, but I've heard that actually what happens in deep sleep is your brain there's fluids that literally you become brainwashed, where the fluids remove a lot of the toxins that have built up from being conscious.
It's an interesting concept and something metabolically that's different than a lot of cells function, which are obviously doing their job all day long. But obviously the brain has the unique ability to cleanse itself, so to speak, at a time when you don't need it as much, and it has its own time to do its own thing, so to speak. And as I mentioned earlier, it is very important that this process have adequate time and setting to occur.
Well, our fourth item, which is has been woven through a lot of this discussion, is healthy dietary habits and hydration. This, how you eat, I guess, and when you eat has a huge effect on your health and well-being.
Absolutely, David. Thank you. Diet is a major determinant of healthy aging. I just want to say thank you, too, for inviting me for this panel. It's been a pleasure. So I just want to say that I've mentioned and I've talked about the Mediterranean diet a number of times. I've referred to it. You're probably wondering what exactly is the Mediterranean diet. So just to go through the major food groups of what's recommended, I'll list them here. So you want to make sure that you're consuming at least 2 cups of vegetables per day, preferably more, especially dark green leafy vegetables or cruciferous vegetables. Those are all anti-carcinogenic and just full of antioxidants. Making sure that you're getting 2 cups of fruit per day. People often ask me, what's the healthiest fruit? What's the one that has the most nutrients? And I always like to remind them to eat the rainbow, because all those different colors and all those different fruits are different carotenoids, different anthocyanins, different vitamins that help benefit our health in different ways. As far as grains go, I put 5 ounces there. That's basically 1 cup twice per day. Whole grains are grains that are still intact. So the example would be brown rice versus white rice. Brown rice still has that bran covering and that germ that help increase the fiber and has a lot of B vitamins for us. So making sure we're trying to get more whole grains in our diet. Protein, I've touched on that. We want to make sure that we're getting enough protein to maintain our strength and our muscle. How much do we need per day? About 5 to 6 ounces per day. So it's not a lot, but it's about the size of a deck of cards twice a day, or 2 to 3 ounces per meal. Low-fat dairy, we want to make sure that we're getting enough calcium and vitamin D in our diet to support our bones, and phosphorus. As we get older, our calcium needs and vitamin D actually rise. So we need about 1,200 milligrams of calcium, 800 IU of vitamin D to prevent osteoporosis. And because our body's ability to absorb nutrients from our food changes as we get older for multiple reasons, we want to make sure that we're avoiding a lot of the empty calories. Obviously, a cookie here, a donut there, that's not, the problem. It's when we're doing the donut run every single day, or having those constantly in our diet, then it's kind of taking up space for those high nutrient foods. The other things I'd like to mention is that our appetite changes as we age, from medications, activity. My role at Carmel Valley Manor is not only to assist our chef in making sure that our menus are healthy, but also to make sure that the residents are eating adequately, and to support their strength, to support their immune system. Some residents may need a specialized diet, and we want to make sure that whether it's dysphagia diet, maybe they're having trouble swallowing, or it's a food allergy that you have, or an intolerance, or you need a special texture. It's important to make sure that our meals are balanced for you and also to taste good. Couple other points: taste receptors change as we age. Sometimes we like to add more salt or sugar to our foods. We know that we have to limit our salt, especially as we get older, to keep our blood pressure down. So we want to be careful not to add salt to our foods. And hydration. Hydration is important for energy and keeping our body running. I oftentimes recommend that we're having a cup of water with each of our meals. And you want to aim for about 6 to 8 glasses of fluid per day. That doesn't all have to be from water, but to make sure that you're not getting added calories from juice and sweetened beverages, water is a healthy choice. So just lastly, I just want to comment that here at Carmel Valley Manor, we are so fortunate to have the Salinas Valley nearby, known for its diversity of crops. We choose to serve in our main dining room mostly healthy, organic, seasonal meals that are sourced locally, and they meet the recommendations for the Mediterranean diet. Thank you.
Great information, Connie. Great direction in terms of how we should be consuming our food. So we come up on the fifth and final factor that are one of the 5 contributors to healthy aging: social connectivity and your support system. Chris?
Sure. And thank you, Connie, for that again. And I will attest, as a staff member that has the benefit of eating here, we do really well. So it's delicious. Social connectivity and our support systems. We know that as we age, our support systems and our networks change. From when we had possibly young kids and all the other sports events and schools, you have a network there. And then as you age, people move, friends move, and things. There are natural changes that go along with that. We know that there's a potential as well for mobility changes or health changes. that are out of our control as we age. We've seen the effects of this last year's pandemic on all spectrums of life. Even more adverse effects experienced by those living alone without support. We know that being part of a community, participating in events and gatherings, joining a church or faith-based organization, adopting a pet, pursuing education, mentoring others help us feel purposeful and engaged with life. At Carmel Valley Manor, we have some 30 plus committees that are run by our residents. It seems like you name it and they are part of something. They jump in both feet and they run, they are connected. It is such an amazing thing to see and to participate in. They have the opportunity to choose what sparks their interest. We see the benefit of initiating new friendships on this campus, see the benefit of sharing of what it is for them to share meals together, taking classes together. We in Carmel Valley are close to various campuses of learning. We have MPC, the Monterey Peninsula College, CSUMB. We have Defense Language Institute, and then now this year, of course, so many opportunities for Zoom classes and learning that way. So continuing to learn, get together with others with like interests is very beneficial. As we've talked before earlier, we're close to Point Lobos, Big Sur, Garland Park, and I think the photo you're seeing may be of down the coast, down by Big Sur area. All these offer wonderful hiking and walking opportunities. We have groups, as you can see here, of people getting together and taking a hike together, and then they share a meal together afterwards. It's wonderful. We've seen the benefit of having a well-plated, a woven together safety net around our residents that offers them the ability to thrive. They make new friends, their families remain family and not caregivers or having to pursue care. They make friendships that have been made to last for the remainder of their lives. I've been told by many residents that live here saying that being here, living here is like living on a cruise ship. We offer so many supports. We are so engaging, equally engaging back. There are relationships built. It is a very connected environment here at Carmel Valley Manor. I know that Dr. Enbom can share, we've asked him to share his personal journey, which may be a benefit for some of you listening and watching to hear. His journey from moving from Oregon to California, and possibly there are some things that will resonate with you. Dr. Enbom.
Thank you, Chris. As Chris indicated, obviously we're social animals, and we really should strive very much to keep social networking together and avoid situations that put people in isolation. It's a sad thing that I've seen elsewhere. I don't see that here at all, but I certainly have seen it in personal situations, and I'm not a fan. My wife and I both grew up in the state of Washington, and both thought we wanted to live the rest of our life in the Northwest eventually. We married after graduation from college and settled in Corvallis, Oregon in 1973 after I completed medical training and residency and 2 years at Fort Benning, Georgia. We loved living in a smaller community, university community. We raised our 2 boys there who eventually settled in Santa Monica and Marin. We enjoyed our friends and colleagues and didn't anticipate leaving the community. But until 2000, we built a new house. It was a 1-story home. It was built for as a last home. We were comfortable. We overlooked an 80-acre wetlands that was part of the city park, and we thought we were set. then we approached our mid-70s and also began to think of, well, what if this happened, or what if that happened? And if maybe something happened to one of us, where would that person go and where would I be? How would I support, etc. And that gave us some food for thought. And we started looking around. We initially looked in the up in the Portland area, and at the same time, we also had several friends, close friends, that were leaving the community, and were going to be settling closer to their family in Seattle and Portland. And another spouse who was going to be the caregiver for her husband, who was developing dementia, suddenly had a catastrophic illness, necessitating their children, who all lived hundreds of miles away, rotating through and helping take care of both parents, which they did with loving and devoted care, but it was also a significant hardship. And that's not something that we were particularly anxious to have to confront our children with. As I said, we started initially looking up in Portland area, but then we also realized, we didn't ski anymore, and it does rain in the winter, and maybe sunshine's not so bad. And then we had heard about Carmel Valley Manor through actually a resident in one of the facilities in Portland that we talked to. Said, well, if my family weren't in Portland, I'd go to Carmel Valley Manor. We also in turn found out that our good friends from Ob Gyn society are residents at Carmel Valley Manor. So we visited them in the spring of 2014. Obviously, it's very similar to the weather right now. It's absolutely gorgeous. The flowers are blooming. Everything is green. In this rural setting can't be more beautiful. What we found basically was a semi-rural, moderate climate, comfortable units, welcoming residents, very good food, as already stated, and very caring and friendly residents and inclusive residents, and the staff couldn't be friendlier and I think more competent. We were very, very comfortable with what we had seen. The staff's available 24/7 for urgent issues and emergency. And the emergency services is right next door to us, the fire station. And we have good care in Monterey. And if needed, the regional trauma centers in the community next door. But probably 95% of our patients end up in our community hospital rather than in the trauma center, because of the facilities and the capabilities that they have, especially heart and stroke care. So downsizing was somewhat, it was easier than obviously saying goodbye to friends, but we did continue to travel back to the Northwest and plan to in the future. I do. And we obviously can communicate a lot more now on social media, which has actually been a very nice thing. One of the good things out of this whole mess with COVID was finding out how versatile that sort of media can be. And the guest units at the manor are very, very nice, and we utilized it for family and friends when they would visit. Our children came to bike races in the area and would stay when they were racing at Laguna Seca or at the Fort Ord. We and our family were secure in the knowledge that we would be cared for, but the manor should the need arise. The residents, as I mentioned, were very welcoming and inclusive. We have so many activities, games, speakers, classes, outings, and we dived right in when we came, and we were very welcomed and everything. And it's a very participatory manner. We socialize with each other, and especially we comfort each other and we support each other when things come up. We were able to use all three levels of care, especially skilled nursing, in the event of an injury or illness, or recovery from surgery or rehabilitation, physical therapy and staff. OT is available as needed, and long-term care is available across the street if that becomes a necessity as well. When we moved here, I was the one on several medications, and Kay, my wife, was on none, She had some arthritis in her back, and other than that, she was extremely healthy. In the fall of 2018, unfortunately, she suffered a fracture of her right arm while toweling off after a shower. And quick evaluation revealed that she had multiple myeloma, bone marrow cancer. She also required a pinning of her right hip as a preventive measure for fracture. Went through radiation therapy to the focal areas that were involved, and then started chemotherapy. When she was in skilled nursing area, she was there for just over 7 months. Her chemo started off well initially, but then she developed, unfortunately, a very severe and painful neuropathy and a painful frozen shoulder after the fracture, and passed away in April of 2019. I was able to see her every day, eat dinner with her every night, visit whenever I wished. Our children and families came and visited, stayed when they could, and it was a very supportive staff, very supportive residents, and I couldn't find anything more reassuring to know that she was being so well cared for. She absolutely fell in love with the staff in the health center, and they loved her in turn. She truly, everyone, no matter what, the skilled nursing down to the people that cleaned the room, knew her name, and everybody was very supportive and friendly. So that was a sad, but yet I guess why we came is that we wanted support, we wanted care. We didn't expect something like this to happen, but when it did, we were so well served. I've been able to use assisted living and skilled nursing myself for urgent need, as well as when I recovered from cataracts, because I was now living by myself. They wanted me to have someone with me at night, so I did spend 2 nights with each eye, cataract, and then I more recently am recovering from a total knee replacement on the right side, and I've had early rehabilitation and therapy at the skilled nursing area, and then at the fitness center, and with physical therapy following. Moving to Carmel Valley Manor was a wonderful life decision and a gift for us and our children. I'm part of a wonderful extended and caring family, a very good place to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Enbom. So, wrapping up, our 5 elements. Chris, did you want to?
Oh, sure. And I appreciate so much everybody's story and sharing, and it's all been very meaningful. So, right, to wrap up, basically these 5 tenets or 5 pillars that we've identified that would help individuals, should they choose to support or navigate not only long, we don't always want to live, we want to live long years, but we want those to be without illness. We want to feel well, we want to thrive. And so back to exercise and movement, the basic tenet is move naturally, and this campus provides that opportunity to move naturally and to connect with others as you move naturally, or for staff even to take a walk around the perimeter on their break. You'll often see staff and residents walking along. So move naturally. Our mental well-being makes a difference, a significant difference in that mind-body connection. So choosing optimism, that's our word for today, optimism. Sleep, get those 8 hours of sleep. But as we've heard from Dr. Enbom and what David have also suggested, it's not just 8 hours, but uninterrupted sleep, where you get into those sleep cycles where our brains can refresh and refuel, and we can reset ourselves to prepare for the next day. That's very important. As Connie has shared with us, her thread throughout this whole presentation is that healthy choices, healthy habits, hydrating well throughout the day. And again, here at Carmel Valley Manor, Our chef and Connie work together extremely well to source great product, and we are the benefit of so many great meals and great products and opportunities there. And then the final part about growing your network and that social connectivity and having a support system around you and knowing that support system and being a support system. So having that mutual back and forth. You know, as Dr. Enbom was saying, the benefits of us at Carmel Valley Manor, we have a clinic open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. Our nurses, we've got nurses on campus 24 hours a day. We have an emergency call system. We had 2 physicians that come to campus weekly to meet the needs of all of our residents. We have a licensed social worker available and a chaplain available. We partner, as Dr. Enbom said, the fire department's right down the hill. Well, we partner with them with our emergency operation plans, and so we connect with them. This year has been a little different, but historically, they help us with our evacuation assembly plans and our emergency operation plans. So there's a great relationship there as well. So this campus, like it said at the beginning, I've been here over 18 years. I love this campus. I love what I do. And those residents that we work along that we support and help, and the staff we walk alongside, it's really amazing. So that's all I have to share right now, and thank you all. And I think Jay's going to wrap us up.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thanks to you all. That was great information. How about a big virtual hand for our panel today?
Thank you.
Now I would like to introduce Carmel Valley Manor's Director of Community Relations, Angie Machado, who will share a little background on Carmel Valley Manor. Angie?
Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Chris, Jack, and Connie, for your all-encompassing presentation on healthy living. For those who are unfamiliar with Carmel Valley Manor, I'd like to share how this community has contributed to healthy aging for so many. Carmel Valley Manor is a nationally accredited life care community offering 3 levels of care and support to our residents. We are the only life care community on the Monterey Peninsula. Carmel Valley Manor has welcomed its first residents in 1962, covering 28 acres, much of which is comprised of lush gardens that cover the campus and change with the seasons. This time of year is especially beautiful. Since we reopened to the public last month, I have enjoyed providing tours of the apartments and grounds to many prospective residents. We are surrounded by hundreds of acres of open space, including ranches, farms, and vineyards. The sweeping views of the valley are spectacular. It is a very special place. We have a staff of over 170 employees. They range from gardeners, chefs, housekeepers, nurses, to personal trainers. The level of service here is wonderful. It's like living in a resort. Most of the 210 residents have ground floor apartments with private patios overlooking the gardens. We have just completed a new model home and have begun tours this month. This apartment includes a full modern kitchen, living room, bedroom, bath, and lovely garden patio where you can enjoy 300 days a year of sunshine. That is Charlie making herself at home. We are pet friendly. As you can see on our Facebook page, many of the residents have pets. While there are kitchens in the residences, one of the favorite benefits of living at Carmel Valley Manor is the 3 delicious and nutritious meals served each day. Here are a few residents that had comments in regards to the meals.
The food is varied and wonderful. We have our favorite food, which is salmon, quite often.
The meats here are wonderful.
There's lots of variety in the food and a lot of emphasis on all the good things you're supposed to eat, fruits and vegetables primarily, and a lot of fish.
The food is fabulous.
It's exceptional, I think. And we have a wonderful chef, and he's always experimenting, trying new things. And then he wants feedback.
I have the opportunity with the residents to, like I say, build that relationship and in turn find out really what their needs are, what their dietary restrictions are, what their likes, what their dislikes are.
They say you gain 10 pounds your first season here, and it's true.
Our executive chef, Greg Hilton, is consistently changing the menu. Connie coordinates with Greg to make sure all the meal options are as nutritious as they are delicious. This photo was taken by one of our resident artists, Will Furman, one of the many artists here at the Manor. If you're interested in more information or if you'd like to schedule a private tour, please contact me. I am Angie Machado. We are currently offering a spring special, and I would be happy to provide more details. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Angie. We have one more virtual event coming up this spring. This event will take place on May 20th, covering the topic of staying fit. It will be led by our resident physical therapist, Mercedes Abluten, and our personal trainer, Matthew Burke. They will not only share fitness tips, but also how to improve balance and reduce the risk of falls. We hope you can all join us again, and feel free to share an invitation to the next event with family and friends who might benefit from this topic. We will be sending a follow-up email with a short survey along with a link to the video from today's event. Please fill out our survey, as your feedback will help us improve future presentations. Thank you again for joining us. Now we will head to your Q&A questions. It's not too late to ask questions of your own. Head to the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I'm going to go through some of the Q&As right now. Just off the top, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so I can see the questions that have come in. Thank you all again for presenting. Okay, let's see what we have here. So I have a question for whoever feels they know the answer. Should we eat small meals more often or 3 bigger portions?
Connie.
The goal, and that's a great question. I feel like that just to kind of clear some of the misinformation out there. So what we've looked at as far as the research goes is that it's really important to eat at least 3 meals a day. And when we talk about whether or not they're small or large or big, we just want to make sure that they're fitting within the parameters of what's recommended. There's a really great website called myplate.gov. And actually you can click on there and it'll tell you exactly what portions we should be eating per meal. Small frequent meals, I don't think that they're necessary unless you have some type of digestion or something that's that your doctor maybe has recommended that.
Awesome. And then another question here we have is, how do you define moderate versus vigorous exercise? Does anyone?
Probably the easiest way is to look at probably the heart rate when you're exercising, and you'll probably, if you've been to any kind of fitness center or gym, you'll see kind of like a normogram, which gives you parameters of pulse rate and maximum under that condition. And lower intensity exercise, walking, biking slowly, they're all fine. They all count. And they, to give you an example, one of our residents I had lunch with yesterday said he started doing 8,000 steps a day, and he's have his insulin requirements, and he has lowered his A1C in the last 3 or 4 months from high 6s to low 6.2. But anyway, probably you don't want to be over the aerobic area. So you're probably in our age group, in the 70s and 80s, probably should be in the maximum pulse rate of 120 to 130 and still be aerobic. But anything this less intense than that certainly counts. But I think that's the best parameter in terms of just general attitude. I would say, though, it's very important to know before you start doing these sort of things that your cardiopulmonary system and your general health will accommodate even moderate exercise, because there are some limitations with certain health conditions and heart conditions. But nonetheless, I think that's probably the easiest general guideline. Mercedes can talk about that as well next time, I'm sure very, very directly as well, and Matt from the fitness center and the physical therapy point of view.
That's actually a perfect segue. So I'm going to wrap up the Q&As here. I want to thank all of the panelists today for sharing your personal testimonies and your insights. It was all very beneficial. I hope all of you attendees enjoyed today's event. You'll be receiving an email with the survey asking you about your thoughts on this event, along with a video link to this recording if you'd like to send to any friends or family you think would benefit. And we will be having a third event in our series of 3 on May 20th on staying fit as we age. So I'd like to thank you all again and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.